This video is going to be about how to polish copper for making the pipe lamps. You're going to need a bunch of stuff. You need some polishing material, a piece of dowel, this is 1/2 inch diameter, a couple of drill bits and some screws, your favorite DeWalt drill bits, your favorite Milwaukee drill and impact driver. And now I look like a YouTube video. You'll need a hacksaw that you got left to you by your grandparents. I think I'm actually good to go. So I decided that I did not want to be doing hand polishing of every little copper bit that goes into making these silly lamps, because that's not a lot of fun. I mean, it works, but it's boring. What I decided to do was come up with a way to mechanically polish these, because I'm lazy and I like making not only things but also tools. This is what I'm doing right now, is I'm make a tool. You got to make sure it's at least longer than your longest piece of pipe that you want to be polishing. Freehanding in mid-air, best way to saw things. Either that or braced against your IKEA glass tabletop. Next step is you got to drill a hole for your screw. Now this is a little bit of a special pilot hole. I don't want it to be a perfectly sized pilot hole. I want it a little bit smaller because the purpose of the screw is to spread the wood. Now really interesting part, you gotta cut a split down your wood, and if anyone has any better ideas about how I can hold this without actually going and buying a vise, because I'm poor and cheap at the same time, feel free to let me know. That's probably pretty good. When you use an electrical tape for this, you want to make sure you use good, proper, real CSA rated electrical tape. Not that cheap decorative Walmart stuff. That's what I used the first time I did this. It was not good. It melted and gummed and got gross, and I could only do 2 or 3 polishings before I had to replace the tape. With the proper CSA stuff, you can basically do all you want to do. So the idea of this is because the rod is too loose and you don't want to actually be splitting the wood, breaking the wood. You got to make a bit of a buffer, a bit of a gasket. You got to add some thickness to your rod. So I'm not putting this on tight or stretched or anything. Just trying to get it nice and even. You only need it at one point at the end, even for the longest pieces of copper. Alright, so you want to have this just barely fitting. And I am just about there, so I'm going to peel off half a wrap. And you'd be surprised, but the difference between a full wrap and a half wrap actually makes it not hold. So this barely fits. And then you take your impact driver and you drill this in here. So the point of this is to split out the wood a little bit without breaking it, and this piece of copper is not going to go anywhere now. Watch some guy on Twitch sticking his rod. And the reason I get the 1/2 inch dowel is it fits very nicely in my drill here. And I take a small piece of my quadruple zero superfine extra fine steel wool, and then it's super simple, barely an inconvenience. You just wrap your copper pipe with your steel wool and give her. And then it's shiny. So instead of like, hey guys, how's it going? I'm gonna sit here and polish my pipe a little bit and turn it a little bit and polish and turn and polish and turn, and this is I'm still going here. It's gonna take me a few minutes to get this one piece done. You just drop it on your tool and you're polished. And then you want to do your screw, slide off your piece, slide on your next piece, put your screw back in, So I left this part mostly unpolished, and this part I polished just to give you an idea of how much a difference it can make in just that short amount of time. Be careful when you're getting these off, depending on how hard you grip and how long you polish. It can be pretty warm. Now, this piece of pipe has been sitting out in my garage for a better part of 3 years, and see how much difference we can make with this one. These pieces were basically brand new. Once again, for comparison, it's not quite mirror finish. You can see that there's very slight lines in the direction of the turn, but compared to what it was, which is this, that's a huge improvement. When I'm all done and it's all assembled, I'll head it up with some trim-clad clear top coat stuff. Oh, you might be wondering, well, what about the fittings? Well, the fittings, you're still stuck. Gotta sit there. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm polishing my copper fittings. If you have a lamp that is going to need a lot of fittings, I would strongly recommend go get some new fittings, because taking from this to this is a much bigger chore than from this to this. And you can see that the fittings get pretty cleaned up pretty quick, at least close enough to say it's not old. Fittings all by hand, but at least for the pipes, there is a way to make it go fast.